Hey guys, and welcome back to my breakdown for both the trailer and synopsis for calaMity, the 14th episode of the second season of The Gifted. Now, over the course of this video, I'm going to be discussing the synopsis and the trailer for the upcoming episode, as well as predictions based on past events this season, as well as these two. But before we dig deeper and get started with any of this, let's first check out the trailer.
We found the spy. You betrayed us. We can negotiate.
They're not gonna negotiate, and neither are we.
Someone's in the tunnels.
We have to evacuate. They're closing in.
Alright, now that we've watched the trailer, let's not waste any more time and let's get started with number 1. That very first sequence on the trailer, that's about the realization that Max is dead, and the inner circle realizing in the process as well that there is a spy in their midst. Now the trailer is trying to convince us that REEVA currently knows who the spy is, as in Lorna has been made, they found the spy they say, but there is also the possibility that they only found who they think the spy is and not who this spy really is. So this entire sequence of the trailer could all be a red herring, kind of throwing us off, making us think that Lorna has been made when she hasn't really. So what it is really a 50-50 chance. It is possible that Lorna has been made, and it is possible she hasn't. But that leaves us with the question of, why does Lorna look worried on this trailer? Now there are two options like I mentioned, it's either that REEVA knows it is Lorna, or she's talking to someone else when she accuses them of betrayal, and Lorna is worried for the person they're accusing of betraying the inner circle. I mean, there are a lot of people within the inner circle who are originally underground and Lorna cares for, like Sage, Andy, and probably a few characters that did leave the underground with her to join the Hellfire Club at the very end of Season 1. But if anything, it's either going to be either Sage or Andy. Andy is the biggest possibility, because when you think about it, the Frost Sisters have a greater chance of accusing Andy of betraying them because they might actually think that he was hiding something at the very end of episode 13 when Lauren didn't show up for their mate and for joining the inner circle. But moving on to number 2, on the synopsis for the episode, the part that concerns the aftermath of Max's death reads, when one of the inner circle goes missing, REEVA intensifies security in their compound, but realizes that her plans might have already been exposed. Furious and paranoid, REEVA resorts to violence. Now once again, this excerpt from the synopsis does make us wonder, is the synopsis actually talking about Max, or is there someone else who does go missing as well on the upcoming episode? Does REEVA resort to violence against her people to find out who the traitor is, possibly using the Frost Sisters to invade everyone's privacy and mess with their brains, or does she just end up figuring out that Max is dead, how he died, and initiates violence against the underground? There's as well the question of whether or not REEVA is gonna be still going ahead with her plans, not the exact same ones of course because she's lost Max, an integral part to said plans, but rather different plans, only the same targets, which is what I really expect over here. I mean, I think she will, because there has to be something the inner circle will be working on and planning for the finale of the season that will force the underground and possibly the Morlocks allied with them to try and stop them. But moving on to number 3, the second sequence on this trailer is about Lauren and Caitlin surrounded by cops. Lauren is suggesting negotiation while Caitlin is suggesting escape, knowing that negotiation won't be an option with those people. Now we know that as of the end of episode 13, Lauren's powers have been inhibited using the very same serum that they got from Madeline Risman, the very same serum that Reed has been using for a few episodes now in order to inhibit his own powers. Now the fact that Lauren is not reacting in violence on the scene to being surrounded, the fact that the darkness is no longer there or temporarily no longer there, and instead she's suggesting negotiation, that indicates that as of this point on the upcoming episode, the effect of the serum will not have worn off yet. I think as well that this moment on the episode, this scene on the trailer, that's gonna be the reason why Lauren is gonna reject that the serum be administered to her a second time over after the effects of the first injection from the end of episode 13 wears off. Now Caitlin, on the other hand, while having been annoying the majority of the season, is becoming quite the badass over the past few episodes, especially with her work with Erg and Blink on episode 13, and will probably somehow manage to save the day on episode 14. As for the cops though, I'm really surprised as to Lauren's reaction on the trailer. I mean, Lauren, out of all people, should know better because she's seen firsthand how law enforcement treats mutants. And that was as recent as episode 13 when she was on the run, so it's kind of in her recent memory. It's kind of weird that she says that on this episode, the very following episode. But moving on to number 4, the part concerning Lauren on the synopsis reads, Caitlin and Reed consider using the serum to restrict Lauren's use of her powers, hoping it will help her as she wrestles with nightmares about the inner circle and her ancestors. Now that is a lot of food for thought, because for one thing, they're only considering it, which means one of them is actually with and one of them is actually against, as per the usual. So it's probably Reed for using the serum and Caitlin against the idea we need Lauren for the fight to come. There's also the fact that considering the idea might mean that once this serum that Lauren was injected with at the very end of episode 13 does wear off, she might go back to having her powers. So the synopsis really tells us of a decision that needs to be made, but doesn't really tell us what the decision, the outcome, happens to be. The serum itself as well is not in abundance. The supply is very limited, or in other words, once it runs out, they will have no more of that shit. I just don't think Madeline Risman will be willing to help them after what was done to her lab. So yeah, it's not in abundance, it's not going to last forever, and it's going to be over at some point. So what is the plan beyond that? But to make it really simple over here, I do think that serum or not, Lauren is going to get her powers back pretty soon as well, and in all cases, and it would make no sense for her not to have them on the finale of the season. But as for my prediction for Lauren, I believe she's going to get back her powers, she's going to reunite with Andy, and they will probably end up using their combined Fenris-like power by the very end of the season. However though, my only issue with this scenario is that while I think Lauren will actually join Andy within the inner circle, there is a very good chance that if Lorna ends up being discovered on episode 14 as the traitor amidst the inner circle, she would possibly and most probably reveal before everyone that REEVA has been working with Benedict Ryan. So there's really a scenario where some inner circle members, Andy and Esme possibly included, will be leaving REEVA's side to possibly join back in with the Underground, and whoever the Underground will be aligning themselves with by the end of this season, most probably the Morlocks. But that being said, let's talk the final bit on the trailer and the synopsis. In number 5, the final sequence of the trailer is all about the Morlocks battling the Purifiers, being attacked by the Purifiers. Now Jace Turner has not been seen, not even once, on episode 13, but need I remind you that he's fully Purifier now. He's let the kid die, lied about his shooting, lost every shred of morality, and even though he does realize it, it does seem that there is really no hope for him. Anyway though, on that same sequence on the trailer we get to see Blink getting shot and John seemingly right there when it happens. Now for so many reasons I sure hope we're not losing Blink this season. It is one thing to repeat the entire thing with the Strucker siblings from season 1 at the end of season 2, but it's a totally different thing, and probably an annoying one at that, to recreate John's loss of a love interest, Dreamer being the one that he lost close to the end of season 1. The fact though that John is there for that scene, in and out of itself to start with, does indicate that either Blink on her own, or after agreeing with Urg, asks for the aid of the Underground. But the more important aspect to think of over here though happens to be how will this incident, the attack of the Purifiers on the Morlocks, have an effect and impact on Urg's mentality, his thinking process, his take and view on things. On episode 13, Caitlin Strucker did manage in a way to change Urg's views and opinions. The all bad and all terrible humans grim view is no longer part of his school of thought, but if that were not enough to have him change his views, separatist views, and unite with his fellow mutants within the Underground, then I believe that this kind of attack will be the final wake-up call that he needs. Vengeance for the fallen and or the injured could in and out of itself be a motive to make a move against the inner circle, the very same inner circle that with their actions has repeatedly made the situation worse for all mutants out there, and of course make a move against the Purifiers for being the hating murderers that they are. But finally though, the part from the synopsis that addresses this aspect on the upcoming episode does not really give us much more, and reads, it's the battle of two extreme ideologies when the Morlocks and the Purifiers come face to face in battle in the all-new calaMity episode. But the title of the episode over there brings us to our final point, and number 6, the title of the episode, calaMity. I think it refers to the 3 incidents that we did watch on the trailer and read about in the synopsis. Calamity is defined as an event or incident that brings about damage or distress, and could also stand for a disaster in general. Now obviously with REEVA and the Inner Circle, the incident here is Max's death. The damage happens to be to her plans. For Lorna, or whomever REEVA believes is a spy, the incident is REEVA believing they are a spy, and the damage is whatever REEVA decides to do with them. For the Strucker women, it is going to be about these non-negotiating Lion forces and Lauren not having her powers, and I think this one is going to be more about distress than damage. But finally, for the Morlocks, it is going to be the attack of the Purifiers, with the damage being all about the Fallen, either dead or injured, or both. That being said though, we've got 2 more Nights of the Gifted, 2 more episodes, 2 more reviews, and 1 final trailer to break down before the finale. So stay tuned for the episodes and for those videos, and let me know in the comments what you think is gonna be happening for what remains of this season. Now, if you did like this video, you can always drop it a like, subscribe, and enable notifications for my future videos, community posts, and live streams. Until the next time you tune in for another one of my videos, gifted or otherwise, thank you so much for checking out this trailer breakdown, and have a great day.